launch a new product, you take an influencer or you take a very famous person, such as like an actor. I don't know, you get Johnny Depp, because then you know that this kind of commercial is gonna be going online somewhere. It's gonna be featured in articles. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Unfuck the Internet. Today I'm here with Ian, and we're gonna talk about AI influencers. It's nice to be nice to be back here. We're a bit rusty. We haven't recorded for like 1 month, I think.
It's been like a month or two. Yeah, we took a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah,
so we're back to it now.
So much happened during our lives that we just.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, like that was a lot. But yes, so we're here to talk about AI influencers, which I don't know, Ian, do you want to give a brief introduction on how they work, who they are? Are they friends with the like other kind of influencers, like the digital one, or just like the physical one?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's the one thing about AI influencers and like influencers in general. They all seem to be friends with each other. Like, is that not the case? Like, you see one influencer and suddenly they're doing like a sponsorship or like a collab with like another influencer, and you're like, hello, how did this happen? And
you just support each other. It's the same when you have a podcast. You want to collaborate with someone. You want to have a partnership.
Yeah.
So you get to know the audience of the other person.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Except in this case, they're all trying to sell swimsuit brands and energy drinks for some reason. So influencers or AI influencers are essentially literally a subset of influencers in general. Whereas influencers themselves, even though they seem like robotic with like how similar they all look, or I swear, like a lot of influencers, they must share like directional advice with each other because a lot of their posts are the exact same. But like AI influencers are like the cutting edge new area for influencers, whereas as opposed to the content being created by the person, the content is created by algorithms and a computer. And probably like the most famous one that people might know is Little Miquela.
Yeah.
What's their demographics again? Like what's the
she's like an LA based 29 years old robot.
29.
And she makes music. I mean, robot. I call it robot, but she's not really a robot. She's like, I mean, virtual influencers, they are computer generated imaginary, which means that they're fictional people who have realistic characteristics, features, and like personalities, same as the humans. They try to recreate the humans as like most likely as possible. And in the case of Lil Miquela, she was created many years ago. I think like she's at least 5 years old in terms of being there out in the market. And I think she was created by Brad. It's a startup in LA, created by two partners, Trevor McFries and Sarah Decoux. Which I think they will be like billionaire by now. They will be probably billionaires.
Just one AI, just one influencer that they have underneath their belt, and they're like, we already got enough money and capital to be billionaires.
No, actually, they have more than one. They have more than one. They also have another one, which has well, the name is kind of quirky, so I don't remember it. But this guy goes around with a mask in front of his face.
Okay.
So yeah.
They're like digital Daft Punk. Is that what it is?
Not really, but I think it's like more like a pollution mask, you know.
Oh,
like a post-punk character.
Okay.
Yeah. And this guy is obviously less famous than Miquela, but they're friends. And they hang out with each other and they share like the same stories. I don't know, but I know that Miquela, she has been in relationships with other AI generated influencers.
Oh my God. Yeah, holy crap. You know? That is opening up a whole other can of interesting content, because I'm imagining now in the future, because you know how influencers, they all get on like reality TV shows. Imagine like a Love Island but it's full of like AI contestants.
Oh my God, that will be so much fun. That will if they work the same way as I don't know if you ever seen this Netflix AI generated content. It's on YouTube and it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, you showed me some of them. Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Oh my God, that's amazing. It's so funny. It's so funny. If something
Yeah,
like this goes out in the market, I'll be the first one to follow it. It's just like
follow
it's
it.
so ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just everybody's just I don't know. That seems like the most obvious case. Like I can totally see somebody banded together and be like, hey, we got to create the hottest AI generated people to put them on an island for people to like watch them fall in love and like betray each other because it gets more trashy because we can make them trashy because they're made up.
Yes, exactly. That will be so much fun. Yeah, but getting back to the AI influencers, they're a real thing. And like as you can see, Michaela, like she did so many partnerships with very big brands, and she took pictures with real people, like real singers, like Dua Lipa, influencers. Like she's been, like seemingly, she's been like out there as if she's a real person somehow, the owners made her have some partnerships which I think have profited them like a lot of money. And the way that she was portrayed and the way she approached other people was incredibly similar to what we humans can do. But still, from my point of view, I don't know if I will consider something sponsored by an AI, because I know that she can have, not feelings, because she doesn't have feelings, but I know that she can bring her point of view in the world. Like she has an opinion on things, just as we do. But would I ever buy something just because Michaela, she got it? I don't think so. Would you?
Well, this brings up like a good point that I want to get your opinion on. It's a lot of what influencers are also doing is they're posting not just like their market. There's the marketing side of it, which we often like coincide with being trashy in a way. But then there's also like the messaging side to it, which could vary between a person, but a lot of them is very liberal in a way. So like my question for you is, would you be supportive, or like what would your reaction be if, say, like little Michaela or like an AI generated person to push marketing suddenly came out as like a UNICEF representative, or they're sponsoring for Save the Children, or they come out and they're like a Red Cross ambassador?
They did something similar. Michaela, she was a sponsor for, no, it was not Michaela, sorry, it was another AI influencer, which now I don't recall the name, but it was a sponsor last year for, I think it was OMS. And it was for preventing the coronavirus. So something it was like a global campaign, like something huge. If you work for the OMS, this is huge. And yes, so basically, like it was, I think the message that he had to convey is that you have to get vaccinated for your safety and for the safety of others. So they did this campaign, and this AI influencer posted several pictures, and I think he even did like more things, but I'm not like fully aware of what were the marketing activities on their side. But yeah, I think he made a consistent amount of money out of it,
If I get into facts, I don't know what it is. I guess it's just like the nature of how long the coronavirus has been going on now, that it just, coronavirus does no longer seem like a very big like mission to be pushing out, as opposed to like if, say, the exact same influencer came out and they're like, we got to go plant 10, like they come out for like 10 trees, or they're like, we're going to be planting 1 million trees by the end of the year, or like save the oceans. That might be like completely different. Like what would your reaction be if suddenly like somebody came out and were like, we're going to save the oceans?
I think that the message behind it's a very good message. Like I would, like on my side, it's not that I will trust this AI influencer because this AI influencer is saying this. I already know that the message behind is something that is it's true. It's like worth spreading. So I will totally follow that campaign and maybe like do a suggested action on their side, which could be like start donating for us, you know, like maybe they could target me because I'm already donating to another I don't know if I should disclose it. Basically I'm already donating for for a huge company on the protection of the environment. So maybe they could target me for someone that is already involved in some donating activity and could be someone in their kind of target. But it's not that I will trust the AI influencer. Maybe I will be more skeptical on the company that decided to choose the influencer instead of a real person.
Right. As opposed to like a real person. Like it goes back to like the creator of the influencer and like who's sponsoring it. Like you could have picked a real person. Unless like the only way how I can see it kind of working is if it's like a tongue-in-cheek kind of like Terminator reference, like save the oceans or else I take over. That kind of
yeah, okay, that will be fun. Save the ocean or you will be fucked up, which means that only robots and machines will be living in the world. So I will take it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a nice storytelling. That one is a nice storytelling. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if little Michaela's marketing team wants to get in touch, I'm all ears. I'll pitch that for you.
Let me tell you something. I think that this AI influencer marketing team is incredibly gifted in terms of skill and capabilities because they managed to have some big partnerships with huge companies. And the only way that you think, let's say from the outside, the only way you give recognition to a product is when other people or other companies endorse that product. So by Lil Miquela being sponsor of, I don't know, Gucci, I mean, she was not, I believe, but yeah, I'm just like throwing there a big brand. When you give them that kind of recognition, of course, the price of Lil Miquela being an influencer or just like the recognition of it grows constantly, increasingly, because she has been like a part of something bigger. She's been like a sponsor of a big brand. So I think that sometimes the product might not even like that perfect or might be like a bizarre idea, such as the AI influencers. They're really a quirky idea, quite of like a bizarre idea. But since they got like a lot of engagement and they got recognition in the time, the idea was worth spreading. So it was like considered as value, Sometimes it's all like you might have the best product, but then it's not spread because you don't have a team that can deliver this message or can just like spread the product itself in the market. They're not capable to do that, or maybe sometimes they're not lucky. There are not the circumstances to do that, and sometimes the idea can be still shit, but it's worldwide suddenly.
Well, that's
what I mean.
That's like there's a movie quote I remember, and it was talking about the 2008 housing crisis or the 2008 banking crisis, and it's a major bank, and they're like, we're about to lose our entire portfolio. And they said, we can either do two things about it in order to make money in this world. That is be first, be smarter, or cheat. So like that's the innovation that we have, especially with like marketing these days. Like one example I can remember in terms of like innovation in the influencer market or in like the online marketing actually came from like Canada of all places. Well, of course I would know it because it's in Canada. What am I saying? But are you familiar with the red paperclip?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, so this was like early 2000s. 10 minutes per minute.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Cut this. Now go.
Okay.
In like the early 2000s, I want to say, or 2010s, this guy from Canada, he had a red paperclip and he wanted to buy a house. He wanted to buy a house and he just so happened to have a red paperclip. And he decided that he was going to trade up his paperclip for a house. And so it's tracked online. Like if you Google the red paperclip,
Mhm.
he went on eBay and he went on online trading stores to get, like, he traded a paperclip for something that was more and more valuable every time.
Mhm.
So he traded like the paperclip for a pen, the pen for stacks of paper, the stacks of paper for like beers, the beers for, I don't know, like a toy chest.
Mhm.
He incrementally, like, everybody was tracking it, but the one of his trades, like, one of the reasons why he got the house, spoiler alert, he got the house in the end. He was able to trade up a paperclip for a
Oh my
house.
God.
Well, one of the reasons that he was able to do that is because he made the news while he was doing it at the time. So
Mhm.
people had heard that he was trying to trade a paperclip for a house,
Mhm.
and celebrities got involved. And one of his trades, he had actually like disclosed that he had set it up ahead of time, but people didn't know this. And so they heard that he traded something very valuable
Mhm.
for a snow globe.
My God.
And they're like a tiny snow globe, and everybody's like, he's a fucking idiot. He's a moron. He literally just gave away something like a super valuable for fucking snow globe. But he already had like the connection to trade that snow globe for like a trip to their concert. Like, I was a musician, and it's like a backseat VIP pass to their concert. And so he had connections ahead of time in order to trade up in value. And that's kind of what I see influencers having. Like, you see some trends pop up, and maybe Dave or like the people in charge of like Little Michaela will have a lot of steam going forward right now, and they'll have a lot of innovation in the market. But as soon as other people come up and they try and do the exact same thing and people already retread down, like, to be honest, like, do you see if somebody retreads like a social media trend or like a influencer or a marketing post, do you see it like in the future working out the exact same way as it does originally?
Oh, I mean, everything changes. Of course not. I don't know what they will do, but yeah, maybe they will work in the metaverse, or maybe they will just work differently.
Yeah.
Maybe they will not be selling products in that way they do. Like, they will just like share thoughts on and opinions. I am not sure about what is gonna go. I don't know about the future on this. But yeah, I mean, I think this will be shifting like as any other thing does. And like, are you a follower of influencers? Like, is there someone out there that if this person sponsors a product, then you might be like, oh, this person has a point. I might be needing this product. Or if you already decided to buy that product, you're like, I'm going to choose this brand over this brand because the person that I trust the most said that this brand is best.
I don't know. Well, I don't see that big of attachments to people. Like, for instance, if I was to see one day Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's an astrophysicist, he does a lot of lectures. If I suddenly see him come out for like he's suddenly like in an Audi commercial, I wouldn't be more or less inclined to buy an Audi because I see him in the commercial. Well, that he's a different choice because, again, he's like a public educator. Whereas you see celebrities, they can go into like people who try and sell their work, their ideas, their personality. They're more inclined to we're like more socially accepted to see them try and push market into us. Like, it would be jarring if you were suddenly to see Barack Obama try and sell you on like a perfume. Like, imagine if Barack
can I
Obama
just say something? Like, I don't understand personally the brands that they still do that kind of like old commercials, not online but on TV, where there's a person sponsoring a perfume or sponsoring I don't know, like something like jewelry or other stuff. I don't know how it should be pursued into like buying that product by just them being there. They're of course paid to do that and paid a lot of money, and I know it. So I don't understand why I should be convinced about this brand being very good or this perfume being super enchanting or whatever that is. I think it's an old way to do marketing. I don't know if this, or maybe actually the only way they use that for is to have brand awareness. Like when you launch a new product, you take an influencer or you take a very famous person, such as like an actor. I don't know, you get Johnny Depp, because then you know that this kind of commercial is gonna be going online somewhere. It's gonna be featured in articles. It's gonna be featured, I don't know, like online on or newspapers or whatever that is. It's just for brand awareness. But still, guys,
especially now,
try something different. I don't know.
It's very strange. Like one example I still remember seeing, it was a couple of weeks back. I was over at my buddy's place and we were watching like I think we were watching like a hockey game, and one of the commercials come on and there's Wayne Gretzky. He's if people don't know who Wayne Gretzky is, he's the most famous Canadian hockey player probably of all time, and he's retired now, and he's up there and he's promoting a lottery, like an online casino.
The fuck?
And I'm like, Wayne,
so
what
random.
Like, what the hell, Wayne?
Yeah.
What are you doing, bud? Is retirement not good enough for you?
The fuck?
It's very strange. Or even like Shaquille O'Neal is another one that I remember. He came out for like a muscle relaxant, like for his back, and I'm like,
but still, this is more on the target, you know. Yeah, I mean, the guy promoting a casino. Sorry?
Promoting a casino. It's very random. It's very, very strange. Or even like Brie Larson. She came out for like a car brand. I'm like, why? So talking about influencers and their effect on like marketing and media, do you have an opinion, or did you want to discuss of well, let's talk about how influencers mark news nowadays, because it's very much the case where more and more people, instead of going on like traditional news outlets to get their information, they're sharing articles that they find on social media instead, and they're just seeing like bite-sized versions of it.
I wouldn't say that they, I mean, there are cases where this kind of news, they come from influencers, but most of the cases is where this information comes from information pages, such as like you can see now there are many of these digital newspapers, like digital magazines, sharing information and creating themselves a new kind of media. You know, like before, back in time, we used to have a usual press, like traditional press. But now this press is, of course, shifted to the digital. And also it's way easier to create a new digital agency, like new media agency, to produce content and to do, you know, journalism and everything. It's just, you can do it. It's free. It's fast. It's digital. It's, you know, you have all the creativity that you can use. You can create many things, many assets, digital formats. You can spread it via ads. You can create it yourself. There are many possibilities to create any kind of content on the internet. But I mean, like you were talking about influencers, and I generally didn't see like an influencer itself doing media in this sense, like talking about, I don't know, like creating posts about something, but you can see them talking about something that is happening into the world, like war in Ukraine or many other things, and they give out their opinion on that, which sometimes
it's weird for a computer to be doing that, if you think about it.
It is weird, especially if you have to consider the data set that's insert into the computer. And
if you want to hear about data sets, are you familiar with Tay AI? No? Okay. So Tay AI, I believe it was Microsoft. They were testing out an artificial Twitter user. So there's a famous one in China that uses Baidu, I believe. And actually, like, it's so the AI runs like like a blog post, and
Mhm.
the AI has like an algorithm to read to fill in what it like post, and
Mhm.
it's actually been featured on local news in China to like read out the weather. And so
Wow.
users will interact with this like Twitter handle, except it's
Mhm.
their own product.
Mhm.
And so Microsoft, they tried to create it in Twitter in America, and they called it Tay AI. And they wrote algorithms for it to respond to people's posts, and essentially like the users will train what kind of post Tay would post, like talk about.
Mhm.
And people discovered how to game it. And real quick, Tay AI went from like a typical bot to a very, very racist and anti-Semitic
Oh,
troll on
really?
the internet.
Oh my
Yes.
God. When did this
Super
happen?
fast. This was like 2014, 2016, I want to say. So not it was fairly recent, and it was very controversial because everybody was posting it to be like, this is why we can't have nice machines, because immediately people online will turn it into a raging Ku Klux Klan member.
That's true. So basically, let me understand that. The information on the Twitter handle on the AI itself was it was triggered by comments and
Yes.
by the okay, so the interactions with it.
Yes.
So if you insult the Twitter handle like a lot of times, the Twitter
Yeah.
handle now understands that it becomes aggressive. It takes this kind of behavior.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was reading behavior from tweets, and essentially what like yeah, they built it to interact with people in order to like engage in a conversation. So people would like asking it very open-ended, but very like offensive open-ended questions. Is like, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get canceled.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
please
they were like
don't.
something super offensive. It's like, do you agree with that? And they're like, and the robot would respond, be like, yes, super offensive. And that's how they trained it.
You see, this is what happens because we cannot do like a one single thing in a correct way, and also um, probably the Twitter handle it was ethics deprived, you know.
I probably, that's that because it was different from it's different from like Little Michaela, where like a
Mhm.
team will go in and craft like it's essentially like every single one of their posts
Mhm.
is like her post. Her actually, it's weird for me to gender a robot.
Mhm.
Its posts are like pictures in a way.
Mhm.
Like it's
Mhm.
it's crafted and then posted. Whereas if it was generated by an algorithm, there's no intervention on that. If that thing goes down the I'm a raging mega non-immigrant loving robot now, there's not a whole lot of safeguards in place
Yeah,
to observe that change.
I am speechless sometimes about like where we're heading to in
Yeah.
terms of like digital
Do
content and AI. I just yeah.
you think we can have nice things? Like, do you think it would be possible for us to
Yeah.
have like an actual like algorithm based nice
Yeah, of course.
influencer in the future?
Of course, I think about this. Yes. I mean, the more the technology develops, the more we can have more information, the more we can, we can create, we can craft ourselves like a very good algorithm to be filled with data. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe in a better world, um, especially when it comes to technology, because I'm sure that we as humans are gonna screw up the planet, and we're heading towards a certain death
Yeah.
for the planet. This is for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident about technology, and that people behind it will be reasonable enough to create a product that can be ethical and sustainable in life. But this is not the moment.
Yeah. So remember what we talked about earlier with the robot influencer saying save the water or I take over.
Yeah, yeah. Or I take over. This is really true. It's
Yeah,
definitely very, very true. Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
I take over.
yeah. Like in general,
So
I'm not like a big supporter of products. Like I of course buy things because everybody does for survival, but I tend to buy less things as possible, less clothes as possible. I
yeah,
do when I'm forced to, like I have a marriage or something, so I have to buy like a fancy dress. Basically because I need to be like the supporter of the wife, like the testimony, you know. In that case, I have to buy stuff. I have to display things, you know. But in general, I just don't like to buy clothes. I think it's a waste of resources and to just create one single t-shirt. I think like one cotton t-shirt is something like 100 liters of water. It's a lot.
oh,
It's a big
yeah,
waste. It's a huge waste. So I'm very conscious about this, and I try to limit
yeah,
it as the more that I can. But the world works like that until we have a new social order, a new order to have you know, to get a life and still produce goods and trade with them. um, we will have this kind of world for now, and probably going to destroy the planet because we are using all the resources. But it's for now the only possible way to live, I guess. Not possible,
yeah.
but it's the um, you know, the only sociable, like the only socially accepted one.
Yeah. So Michelle Obama, if you're listening to this, just remember you will not really influence us buying Gucci if you were to become a sponsor of them.
Yeah,
I
and
think that's
also, like if you become a sponsor of fashion in general, it's such fashion is such, you know, um yeah, I don't remember the word. Please, Vyra,
that's okay.
cut it. I'm
We
Italian,
we
so
can
I
cut it
don't know
here.
English.
I think this is a good place for us to bring this conversation to an end.
Yes.
I think this is a good profound piece to leave people on. You know,
Yes.
what kind of safeguards do we want to see, or what do we want to see our creations post going forward? Like, what do we want the AIs to sell to us, like a product or a message, or do we actually want to see that? I think that's for up to I'm gonna leave that as like the thought exercise for today.
What do
You
you mean?
heard that right, everybody.
What do you mean? Do we want to see that?
Well, that's the thing. That's your homework for today, everybody. All the audience who's
Okay.
listening today is for you to think about it and observe. And I better see your essays at my table by the end of the week. All right, we'd like to thank you all for listening to another episode. Armando, you wanna
No,
take
I
us
just
away?
thank you everyone, and see you into the next episode. And